Hi everyone, and welcome back to the online training of Adobe Illustrator at Edu4Sure. So in our today's tutorial, we are going to learn about the Shape Builder and Pathfinder tool. So before starting, let us understand how will the Shape Builder and the Pathfinder tool will help us in creating our designs and what are these tools used for. So basically in Illustrator, from creating basic shapes to custom shapes and then to create compound shapes, we take the help of these tools which are known as the Shape Builder and Pathfinder tool. What are compound shapes? Compound shapes could be anything that involve more than that involve combining or subtraction of more than one shape or more than one form of shape would be more appropriate to say, right? So how to create those compound shapes using the Shape Builder and Pathfinder tool, we are going to look into that today. And let us see what other points that we are going to cover today. All right. So the very first one being merging shapes. So as it is clear by the name itself, how to merge shapes and how to combine them. Maybe there's a circle and there's a rectangle, and how can we create shapes by combining them? We are going to look into that. Then erasing with shapes. Erasing with shapes is just like subtracting a shape out of an already existing shape. Now let's say you want to create a design of a moon, so you can do one thing, that you can take a bigger circle and then take a smaller circle, and then you can just subtract that smaller circle out of the bigger circle from one edge, from one of the sides of the circle, and it would create a half moon shape, or you know less than half moon shape it can create, and you can adjust that accordingly even after subtracting that shape out of another shape. All right. So, and apart from that, how to just completely erase a shape from another shape, that we are going to look into that today. All right. Then we are going to look into the Shape Builder options. Now what is this Shape Builder tool? Shape Builder tool is one of the tool in Illustrator, and we have already utilized this in some of our tutorials, but we haven't really discussed about in detail, and so today we are going to do that as well. So this Shape Builder tool is one of the tool which will help us in combining and subtracting shapes out of some other shapes that we have constructed. All right, now what would be certain options of this Shape Builder tool apart from combining and subtracting, that we are going to look into today. And lastly, we are going to look how this Shape Builder tool is different from the Pathfinder tool. Well, quite frankly, the Shape Builder and the Pathfinder tool have a lot of similarities, but if you're a professional, if you have great knowledge of this software, you would be able to tell the difference between Shape Builder and Pathfinder. And don't worry, today I'm going to give you that information where you can differentiate when to use the Shape Builder tool and when to use the Pathfinder tool. All right, I won't reveal the difference between both of these tools right away. I will show you an example on the Adobe Illustrator software, and then after seeing the example, we are going to discuss some of the key points that make Pathfinder tool different from the Shape Builder tool. All right, so let's move on to our Adobe Illustrator software and let's start creating compound shapes. Okay, so I have taken a new file, and let's create something. And firstly, we will look into the Shape Builder tool and how it would combine and subtract shapes for us. All right. For that, I'm going to construct some of the shapes. Okay, I have taken an ellipse. Then let's say I take a rectangle. Then again, I'm going to take a bigger circle. Okay, let's do one thing. We'll give them a fill color. I'll increase the stroke for this one. Okay, let's make it 6 as well. Then for this circle, I'll just place it here. Okay, and increase the stroke. All right. And we will, delete the fill for this particular shape so that you're able to see the other shape as well. Okay, so right now we have created this shape, but what if, I want to make this shape as one? How can I do that? And let me just, curve the edges for this one, or let it remain this way. It won't really matter. So right now, these are all three different shapes. That is 1, 2, and 3. And we know that we want to create a compound shape like this. It is sort of a, test tube, or I would say a jar that would be used in a chemistry lab, or it can be used as a pot as well. So it can be anything. But let's say we want to construct this shape and make this shape into one. How can we do that? Well, first we will select our shape builder tool. And now, okay, before selecting your shape builder tool, make sure that all of these objects that you have created are selected. And then we'll take our shape builder tool, which has the shortcut Shift plus M. Okay. Okay, with this selected, now please notice, now as in when I hover over any of these three shapes, I am getting a highlighted area, an area which is, which turns into into lines, horizontal and vertical lines, and it is telling me something that all of these portions can be either subtracted or, merged into one. So right now, if I hover over any of the shape or just like look onto my cursor, it has a plus symbol. So by default, with the shape builder tool, if you're going to use it, it will combine shapes. And if you have to, subtract any portion or subtract any sort of shape, what you're going to do, you're simply just going to press Alt. And then you can easily notice that the cursor has changed into a minus sign, which means now when you use it, it is going to subtract a particular portion out of a shape. All right, so let's combine first. I have selected all of these three objects. Now I'll do one thing. I'll just simply start from here, and then all you have to do is just click and drag. And as in when you are going to click and drag, you can see that portion is getting highlighted and a line is coming across wherever you are taking your mouse cursor. And if I release now, I have covered all of the three shapes that we constructed, and you can see the highlighted area, the checked mark area, right? Now, as in when you're going to release your cursor, you can see the shape has combined into one shape, right? And it has taken the color of the shape which was in front. Okay, so this is how we have created a compound shape from three different shapes, right? But now you cannot edit any part of that shape. Let's say you want to decrease the neck length of this particular uh, test tube or vase, whatever it is, or maybe you want to, increase the size of this ellipse. You cannot do it now. So always keep in mind that once you have, created any shape using the shape builder tool, that shape becomes, the resulting shape is non-editable. Okay, so you cannot edit that shape again from any of the portion or any of the shape that was utilized in constructing that resulting shape. All right, so this is one thing that we have combined. Now let's try some other things. Like let's say you're making a cloud. let's say you want to, make a cloud sort of a shape. So what you're going to do, we're just simply going to take different circles of different sizes, and we'll just randomly place them uh, in contact with each other. All right. So you can see a cloud shape that is, being formed. But right now, all of these circles are individual circles and they are not combined. So let's see this, we have made these circles and now we want to combine them. Now let us see how will this combined shape look and how can we combine them. We're going to select all of our circles, and then with the help of the shape builder tool, you can see if you want, you can combine these two objects, and then after combining these you can combine any other area, or you can combine all of it at once as well. Or let's say you want to get rid of a particular area, you want to subtract that area from this particular shape. Now whichever portion is highlighted right now is going to merge or subtract. Okay, let's say I want to subtract this particular area, then you have first you'll have to press Alt on your keyboard, and now when you release your mouse cursor, you can see that this area has been subtracted. And for subtraction you can also click and drag, and you'll be able to see that this area has been subtracted. Now we'll just undo, because we have to combine all of these shapes. So starting from here, I'll just take my mouse cursor, click and drag over these circles, and make sure that you're covering all of these areas in order to combine them. Okay. So now when you're releasing, you can see that a cloud shape is formed. But if you look closely, there are certain anchor points which we have left. There are some certain points or portions which we did not cover while combining the shapes. How can those be combined? Now again, you can take your shape builder tool, just simply click on those areas. Now, as you can see, we have created our cloud shape, and none of the points or portions are, left hanging. All of the portions are combined. And now we cannot change the shape of this particular cloud, because we have already combined the shapes. And after, creating or merging the shapes, it's not, you'll not be able to edit the portions. Okay, but now like I have moved my cloud, you can see there are some portions that are there. These are what? These are certain anchor points which sometimes, while using the shape builder tool, we might get some extra anchor points at times. So always make sure that you're getting rid of these anchor points. So we'll just simply delete them. So this is one thing that happens with Shape Builder tool, that it might create some extra anchor points which are not required. So always get rid of all those anchor points and make sure that it is not disturbing your shape that you have created. Okay, now if you want to change the shape, or change any of the anchor points of this particular cloud, you can go to the direct selection tool and maybe just reshape it according to your need. So this is one way how you can reshape it. Apart from that, you won't be able to, edit this shape, because we have used the shape builder tool, and that is one limitation of the shape builder tool. All right. Okay. So moving ahead, now let us look at how to, subtract shapes from one another. So I'll take two circles. I'll give them a different color this time. I'll create a copy of this one. Okay, we have these two shapes, and now let's say I want to get rid of this portion where these two circles are intersecting. How can I do that? I'll select my shape builder tool. Now with your shape builder tool selected, you can see right now we're getting one of this portion, and this one. So we can either just simply subtract them or combine them. If you'll combine them, this is the shape that you'll get. Okay, and if you want to get rid of any particular portion, you can just simply press Alt and see that portion would get cropped. But let's see, if we want to get rid of this intersection, how can we do that? Just simply press Alt and this would be your desired result, right? Now if you bring it on to this side, you can see that there is no white space in between. It is simply just, it just got subtracted, that a region just got subtracted out of these two shapes. Okay, now in the isolation mode, you can just move these objects. All right, so this is another thing that we have created using the shape builder tool. Now let's say I create a letter sort of. I have duplicated this and pasted it in place, Control C, Control F, and then I'm placing this smaller circle. Okay, I'm scaling it down. Then, all right, now let's say I want to construct this particular shape and I want to combine this region, but I want to get rid of this one. How can we do that? We'll simply select this object, go to our shape builder tool, and now you can see portions which can be combined or subtracted, right? So firstly, we'll get rid of this inner circle. Okay, now we want to make this as one. These two shapes we want to combine, so we'll simply click and drag over this region, and now you can see I'll change the color. Now you'll be able to see that we have created this custom letter or custom shape using the shape builder tool. So you can utilize this shape builder tool in a lot of scenarios, while creating logos, while creating some text effects, or while combining and combining shapes, or subtracting shapes, or making illustrations, characters. So at that point you can easily utilize this shape builder tool, and it has a lot of helpful, a lot of scenarios where this tool can be helpful. All you have to do is utilize it creatively and practice it a lot. So this was all about the shape builder tool. One more thing that we can do with the shape builder tool, I'll just show you. Let's say we have two shapes, this one and again we'll create a copy, this one. Okay, and now you are combining these shapes, but let's say this time you want to change the color of the resultant shape. How can you do that? Now you'll just simply select and use the shape builder tool, right, to combine them, but you can do one more thing. You can select a particular color that you want to change these shape to. And then when you use the shape builder tool, if you notice, we have changed the resultant shapes color as well. So this is one more thing in where the shape builder tool would be helpful to you. It can give a specific color to the resultant shape that you're creating. Okay, so this was all about the shape builder tool. Now let's see what is the Pathfinder tool and how is it different from shape builder tool, and what all effects can we create by using the Pathfinder tool. Okay, so I'll just take a new file. I'm not making any changes to that file because at last we'll discuss and we'll see, revise what all things we have created by using the shape builder and the Pathfinder tool. All right. Now, where is this Pathfinder tool? Now, if you're not able to, see your Pathfinder tool, let's say I've created a shape. In the appearance panel, I'm not able to see my Pathfinder tool. So I'll simply go to Window and look for Pathfinder. The shortcut for this one is Shift plus Control plus F9. And then all you have to do is simply click on this, and then we have a pop-up for which says Pathfinder, right? And here you can see two categories. One says shape modes and the other is pathfinders. So mostly you are going to use the shape modes whenever while you're working. Okay, these pathfinders would be very less useful, I would say. Okay, these can be helpful in certain scenarios, but mostly you're going to utilize these shape modes only. So let us look at these shape modes and pathfinders one by one. Okay. All right. Now let's take a shape. I'll take a rounded rectangle. Let's increase the stroke. Okay, this is one shape. And then I'm going to create another shape. Let's say this one. Let's change the color of this shape. Okay. This, then again I'll duplicate this. Okay, now we have these three shapes that we just made. Now let's see what the first tool says. The first tool under the shape modes category is Unite tool. So let's see what happens when I click on this tool. Okay, now you can see that all these three shapes have been united and we got the color of the shape which was in front, like which was the shape that we just drew recently. That has been the resultant color of this united shape, right? So now let's say I want to edit this, but I have already used the shape, already used the Pathfinder tool to unite them. How can I edit them now? Let's say I want to move this particular rounded rectangle downwards. How can I do that now? Well, one way is to just simply use Control Z for undo. But uh, if you want to, make your resultant shape editable, then you have to keep in mind that while using the Unite tool, you can press Alt and then click on the Unite tool. Now you'll be able to see the path of all of the three shapes. Now, if you want to simply, change any of this particular, let's say shape, you can just go to the isolation mode and you can place them anywhere or resize them according to your need. Okay. So see, even after uniting this shape, we were able to, edit this particular resultant shape. So this is what the Unite tool did for us. Okay, now let's move on to the next part, which is the minus front. So how would this tool help? Let's see that. Okay, this time I'll take an ellipse. Then we'll take another ellipse. I'll change the color. Okay, so I'm placing this ellipse over the ellipse that we created earlier. Now let's say I want to edit this particular shape after using these shape modes. For that, we have to keep in mind that press Alt and then click on any of these particular modes. Okay, so just select your objects. Now click on these with holding your Alt button. Okay, now see what happened. That blue ellipse, I just undo this blue ellipse, which was on top, which was on front, has been subtracted from the ellipse which was below, this yellow ellipse. All right, so that much area has been subtracted, which was on top, from the below made object. All right, so I'll show this to you again. We are going to use minus front by holding Alt, and see, this region has been subtracted. Now this region can be easily editable. You just have to simply ungroup them, or I would say go into isolation mode. See, wherever you will take the circle, that much area would be cropped out of the yellow ellipse which was below the other ellipse. So let's say we want to create sort of a moon shape. So this is how we can create that. Okay. All right. So this is another thing that we made from the Pathfinder tool. Then let's move on. Next is intersect. So for this, we'll again take an ellipse, create a duplicate, change color. Okay, right now we have these two ellipses. Now for the intersection, it is quite clear that it is going to create that region which is intersecting for these two objects. The intersection region would be this area, right? So let's see what happens once we click on this. Alt plus click. Why? Because if we want to edit our resultant shape, so we'll be able to edit once we use Alt plus click. Okay, now you can see this is our resulting shape. It has taken the color of the ellipse which was on top. Okay, so this is what we get from the intersection tool. We can create various and utilize this at various points. Let's say you want to create a shape of an eye, or let's say a fish. So at that particular point, you can use this tool. And if you want to again edit the shape, you can just move around the ellipse. Okay, so this is another thing that we made from the Pathfinder tool. Now last is exclude. So let's see what this tool does now. I'll take one rectangle and then I'll take another rectangle and change the color so that it is clear to you that there are two different objects. Okay, so we have these two objects, and with our Alt pressed on keyboard, we'll click on this particular mode which says exclude. So see what it did was it excluded that area which was intersecting, which was common between these two objects, right? So in this scenario, using the intersection mode, what we did, this illustrator kept that region which was intersecting, or which was the intersection point or intersection region for the objects that we created, and this is exclude tool is completely opposite of that intersection tool, right? It is deleting or subtracting that area which is common between these two objects. Okay, so again, it can be edited. This shape can be edited if you move around. Okay, see. So these were all the modes, all the shape modes. So we have covered all the shape modes starting from unite, minus front, intersect, and then exclude. So these are quite simple and quite easy to understand. You can just utilize them at the right opportunity and right places. You should know when to use these particular tools in which scenario. Okay, so let's move on and go to the Pathfinders tool. Okay, this category we are going to cover now, and for this category I have created a file for you in advance. So we have these 6 modes under the Pathfinders. So what are these modes? First one is divide. So as you can see, I have already numbered them. First one is divide, then trim, merge, crop, outline, and then minus back. So we are going to look into all of these 6 modes one by one. And what I have created here is I have taken 3 circles with different colors, and these would be the original shapes that we have created, and I have duplicated these circles here, and we are going to utilize these tools one by one on these particular shapes so that we can see that what these tools are going to do to the resultant shape, and you'll be able to see the original shape as well as the resultant shape here. All right, I hope that is clear. And these are the tools that we'll be utilizing on one by one. So there are 6 tools and I have made 6 categories here. Okay, now let's start. We'll just zoom in a bit. Okay, starting with the divide category. Okay, so we have 3 circles here. One is blue, pink, and yellow. Now, as you can see, pink is on top, then blue is below that, and then at the lowest, we have the yellow circle. So once we select these 3 circles, which is just the copy of this particular shape itself, and with the Pathfinder selected, I'm going to hit on divide and let's see what happens. Okay, now see, this is our resultant shape. Now what just happened that it has divided all the parts of these circles wherever they were intersecting. How can you notice that? Now let's just select them and go into the isolation mode to know about them more clearly. I'll just zoom into, and if you try to separate these, now you can see that all of these portions are separate, right? See, even these, all of these portions have, which were intersecting or overlapping, they have been separated with the divide tool. So this is what the divide tool does. Okay, so I'll keep this just like this for you so that at last you can see what we have done with these tools. Okay, so next is the trim tool. So with our shapes selected, let's click on the trim tool. Okay, now if you see, this is what happened. All of these, so I'll again go to the isolation mode to make it more clear to you. Now if I try to move these shapes, you can see the blue circle which was below the pink circle, that much area has been subtracted, which was overlapping by the pink circle. Now if I try to move the yellow circle, you can see that much area has been subtracted, which was overlapping the blue and the pink circle. If I press undo, now see, the shape was like this. We had these 3. Now with the trim tool, this is what happened. The pink was on top, so nothing happened to the pink circle. Okay, it is as it is, but the blue circle which was below the pink has been subtracted from that area which was overlapping by the pink one, and similarly the yellow which was at which we made initially, which was below the blue and pink circles, for the yellow area also that region has been subtracted which was overlapping by the blue and pink circle. Okay, let's move ahead now. So this is our third category, which is merge. Okay, so now if you notice, we have these two circles with the same color, that is blue color. Now, why is that done? Well, that is done purposely to make you understand this particular shape mode. Pathfinder mode. This is not the shape mode, this is a Pathfinder mode. Okay, we'll select these three circles, then click on merge. Now let's see what happens after that. Okay, so as you can see, the circles with the same color, that is the blue color, has been merged into one shape. Let's go and check it in the, let's ungroup them in the isolation mode. Now if you see, this region has become one. Even if you want to change the color of this region, you can easily change that. See, this region has become one, and this yellow circle has been separated from the blue circles, and that part has been overlapped, that part has been subtracted, which was being overlapped by these two circles which were on top of the yellow circle. So this is how the merge tool would work. It would simply combine the areas which are in the same color, and it will subtract the area which is below this combination of circles or the combination of shapes. It is quite clear. It is very simple. There's no rocket science behind this. I hope this is clear to you as well, right? So moving on, our next category is crop. So this is our next tool, crop tool. Let's see what happens now. I'll select these three circles, zoom in a bit, and let's select the crop tool. Now see what happened. So the objects below, the circles that were below the pink circle have been cropped and placed inside the circle which was at the front, right? Only that region is visible to us, which was, covered by the circle on top, which that is the pink circle. I just undo. Now this much area is being covered by the pink circle, and the blue circle is below that. Then we have the yellow circle. Now what just happened, that these blue and yellow circle, when we hit crop, these blue and yellow circle have been, fitted inside that pink circle area, and only that region is visible to us which was being intersected, or which was being overlapped by the pink circle, right? So even if you try to separate them in the isolation mode, you'll be able to see these two regions have different. Okay, all right. So this is what happens with the crop mode. Okay, then we have the fifth category, which is the outline category. I'll select these three circles, then hit on the outline option. So before doing this, let's just increase the stroke width so that this tool is more clear to us. So I have increased the stroke width for all these three circles. Now let's hit on the outline option. So this is what happened. It is quite, light. As of now, you won't be able to see much clearly, but what just happened, the object's fill color has been given to the outlines, and we don't have the fill color anymore. See, the fill color for the three circles has vanished, and we just have the outlines of that circle with the color which was there in the fill color. Now, just like the pink circle had pink fill inside it, it has been given to the outline now. And again, even for the area that was being overlapped has got an outline of that pink circle. And similarly for the blue circle, we got the blue outline. For the yellow circle, we got the yellow outline. And when we go into the isolation mode, we can easily separate these regions. See, all of these outlines can be separated because right now we have just separated these. Okay, so this is what happens with the outline tool. So it might be useful in certain scenarios. You can use this according to your needs. Okay. Now the last category is minus back. Now just like we had a minus front in the shape modes, this is right. Minus front in the shape modes we had. This is just the opposite of that. What is it going to do is, let's select these three circles, and just one thing I want you to notice that right now yellow is at the below. Yellow is just below the blue and pink circle. First we have the yellow circle, then on top we have the blue circle, and then this pink circle, right? So what happens when we select minus back? See, all the circles that were at the back of this pink circle have been subtracted, and that region from the pink circle has been subtracted which was being overlapped from the objects that were at the back. That is, okay, I'll just undo. I just want you to notice this region of the pink area which is being overlapped by the blue and yellow circle. What happened when we hit minus back? Only this pink area which is on top is visible, and the other area which was being overlapped by the blue and yellow circle below the pink circle has been subtracted from the pink region, right? Now let us look at all of these categories one by one. See, first we had the divide option. What it did was it divided all of the circles into different parts, even the intersections, right? Wherever they were intersecting, these have been divided into different parts, right? Then we had the trim option. What it did, it trimmed the objects that were below the object. It trimmed the object that was below the front object, right? This pink circle was in front, and so the yellow and blue circles got trimmed by that pink circle. Okay. And then under the merge category, we can merge two similar colored objects, and the other object would simply get cropped if it is being overlapped with that similar object. All right, this is the merge option. This is the resultant. Now then again, in the crop category, we had this of these three objects initially, and they changed into this, right? So what it did was it just simply cropped out the region in front and kept only that region which was being intersected by the objects below the objects that was in front. Okay. Then, and in the outline category, this was our original objects. These were our original objects, and what it did was it changed them into an outline with the same stroke color which was there initially in their fill color, right? The black stroke has been vanished, and the stroke is given as per the fill color of the respective objects. Okay, and even these can be used as separate parts. All right, and the last category was minus back. So what it did was it just subtracted the region which was at the back and kept that region of the front that was not being overlapped by the objects at the back. All right, so this is these were the other second category of the Pathfinder tool. The first were the shape modes. So we made these objects by utilizing the shape modes, and these objects by utilizing the pathfinders. Now let us discuss when to use the shape builder tool and when to use the pathfinder tool. Well, the similarity is that both of these options can be utilized to create compound shapes. But let's discuss certain points where the shape builder tool is different from the Pathfinder tool. The first point could be that shape builder tool is used to combine or subtract shapes. Only these two functions it can perform, on a basic scale, on a general scale. It can perform only these two functions, that it can combine or subtract uh, to make compound shapes. But Pathfinder, on the other hand, we just saw that it has various modes, just like the shape modes and Pathfinders. So it can do multiple things. So this Pathfinder tool can do multiple things apart from just combining and subtracting shapes. Okay, so it has all of these options under the shape modes category and the Pathfinders category. Now, one more difference I want to show you. So I have, saved this splatter sort of PNG to show you something where the Pathfinder can be, utilized, or it can make you clear that where to use the Pathfinder tool in such a scenario. All right. Okay, so let me take an ellipse. I'll just give it sort of a gradient. It is, right now changed into grayscale. We'll change it to RGB. I'll give it a blue color. Okay. So this is our ellipse. And now let's say I'll place these splatters. I'll send this ellipse to back. Okay. Now I'm placing these splatters on the ellipse. Let's say we want to give this sort of an effect to the ellipse. Okay. Let's say that I want to minus, or I want to, subtract these splatters from the ellipse. Now, how can I do that with the shape builder tool? Well, for the shape builder tool, if I'll select these two objects with the shape builder tool, I can do this. But if you see, if I hover over certain regions and press Alt, it is taking such, so long to even perform this particular function. I'll just simply stop it. See, it got so complicated because there are so many little tiny regions which I cannot select with this shape builder tool, right? So in this scenario, what can I do is I can use the Pathfinder tool. So I'll simply select these two, the splatter and the ellipse, and then I can simply use the minus front option. And now if you see, this region has been subtracted from the ellipse. I'll just give it a background so that it is easy to understand. Let's say we give it a red background. I'll send this to back. Now if you see, this region is visible to you, which means that this region has been subtracted from the ellipse. And how we did that? With just one click by using the Pathfinder tool. So this is one scenario where the Pathfinder tool would be, come in handy. And this is where the Pathfinder tool will play a major role. So I hope that now you'll be, able to understand that where can we utilize the Pathfinder tool in such complex situations where just selecting a particular region one by one and then deleting it with the shape builder tool is not very practical. All right. And there are other limitations to the shape builder tool as well, but let me tell you that the shape builder tool is much more flexible and it is much more easier than the Pathfinder tool, because in the Pathfinder tool you'll firstly have to select the two objects and go to the Pathfinder tools and select any of the appropriate option. keep in mind that it is very important to use the appropriate option under the Pathfinder tool. And with the Shape Builder tool, you just know it performs two functions. Either it will combine the shapes or it will subtract the shapes, right? Okay, and it will come much more handy while constructing logos. And I personally use Shape Builder tool more than the Pathfinder tool. Okay, so uh, with your knowledge, you can easily make a difference, or you can easily make a call when to use a Pathfinder and when to use the Shape Builder tool. Now, as we were discussing the differences between the Shape Builder and Pathfinder tool, is the first point that we discussed is that the Shape Builder is just simply used to combine or subtract shapes, but on the other hand, Pathfinder can perform all of these functions under these two categories, shape modes and pathfinders. Now, secondly, as we saw while using the Shape Builder tool, when we were constructing this particular cloud, we got some extra points, right? We got certain extra anchor points. So it can happen that at certain point that the Shape Builder tool can create some extra anchor points, which comparatively doesn't happen with the Pathfinder tool. So we perform all of these functions and these functions as well, and in none of the category this Pathfinder tool had created extra anchor points for us, right? So it might happen sometimes, but yeah, comparatively, if we compare the Shape Builder and Pathfinder tool, it happens less in the Pathfinder tool. Okay, so the Shape Builder tool can give you some extra anchor points at times, which we can get rid of eventually. All right. And then the thirdly, the Shape Builder tool is, I would say, quite easy as compared to the Pathfinder tool. For the Pathfinder tool, you have to, know that which particular option is going to do the work for you. Let's say you want to minus front or minus back from a particular um, object, and you are using the crop tool or the divide tool, and it is not going to work in that scenario. All right, so you should know which tool or which category of the tool of the Pathfinder you have to use in a particular scenario. All right, so in that case the Shape Builder tool seems quite easy from the Pathfinder tool. All right, then moving on, other point would be that the objects in the Shape Builder tool are non-editable, right? Just like we created this object, this one, and this one. So once we have combined them or subtracted a particular region using the Shape Builder tool, it is not editable anymore, right? Even if we go into the isolation mode, you can see that this particular, okay, in the isolation mode, that this particular region is editable, but at certain points you won't find this, you won't be able to utilize this option. Okay, just like we did for this clouds, we used quite a lot of ellipse or quite a lot of circles we used, but you cannot find those circles anymore. Let's say I wanted to reposition the circle at some other point. Now I'm not able to do that. Why? Because we have combined it using the Shape Builder tool. While for this one we were able to do, but for this particular shape we are not able to edit it after combining it, right? Okay, whereas in the Pathfinder tool, the shapes are editable, and you can just edit those shapes while working on them. So it's like while it is live, you can edit it, right? So how can we do that? We can just simply go into the isolation mode and just simply place them anywhere. All right, or let's say I am performing a particular function for this one. Let's say I'm trimming. Let's say I trim this, and then this is what happened. So I can place this circle anywhere I want, right? Okay. So these are the things that you can do with the Pathfinder tool, that you can edit your resultant shapes even after performing the specific function. Okay, then The last point, according to me, would be that Shape Builder tool is not used in complex scenarios such as this one. Like we just now saw that the shape, by using the Shape Builder tool, it was taking so long to process, and it was just one region that we selected, right? It was just one region that we tried to subtract from this ellipse, and it took so long, and sometimes your software might get crashed, and it is practically not possible to select all these small dots and subtract it out of this region. So in that scenario, we can utilize the Pathfinder tool, and it comes in a lot more handy than the Shape Builder tool. So in complex situations, in complex scenarios, Pathfinder tool would be of much more help to you than the Shape Builder tool. So it totally depends on the category of work that you're doing, on the scenario of the work that you're doing. So if you're stuck in such a scenario where you have to you have a complex situation, you can always utilize the options from the Pathfinder tool rather than just using the Shape Builder tool. So these were just some of the points that make Shape Builder tool and Pathfinder tool um, much more appropriate than the other one, right? So you can find out about the other similarities and other differences as per your research as well. And apart from that, how are you going to make your judgment that when to use the Shape Builder and the Pathfinder tool? Well, it will come by practice. So start utilizing these tools and start performing certain functions with these tools, and you will get to know, you will create a sense that when to use any of these two particular options at the right time. So as I always say, keep learning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep practicing. So we'll meet in the next session. All right.